Alright, we're gonna go ahead and start. Let me switch to the scene. I'll probably go on my I'll probably go on the US server to actually test the orbitals and see if there's any damage difference, because I'm guessing well, it may hit different because it's like I think the EU server will have I think it'll have the update with the changes with orbitals where it'll be like CR based. So I think that'll skew the numbers. But I mean, we'll test anyway. But yeah, I don't think I'll get a good reading on US because I think it'll still have the old way that orbitals hit. So let's switch to scene. So here we are on the EU server. We are going to be taking a look at the changes for the patrol that went ahead and dropped I want to say like an hour ago maybe on EU, and then we'll see it drop I don't know, another couple hours, you know, another 8-9 hours, something like that on the US side. But we're going to go ahead and take a look at the EU server with their changes. So we got the events here. Obviously you have the 4th patrol. It looks like the content that they want you to do is like like apocalyptic Gotham City. You have the open world weekly, daily. You have the casual for the solo, alert, and the raid, which count towards it. And then the rewards that you get, you have to do 20 days, and you have the Subjugator Blast Elite Uplink device. So you have that. It looks like it requires a target as well. So the nice thing about that is if you're far away, and like the boss moves out of your range, obviously, then the orbital won't work until you get the target again. So that's kind of great. Charge up. So it takes 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds, I'm guessing, for it to until it actually hits. So I don't know if that's quicker or not. Hopefully, duration is 7.5 seconds. That actually seems pretty long, so that might be pretty nice. CR damage modifier. Don't know exactly what this exactly means, but that'll be kind of cool to see if somebody ends up breaking that down. Burns enemies, making them vulnerable to burning effects, so it actually adds the PI to it, which is interesting. Order the terrifying subjugator to fire a subjugator blast, raining 2 beams of omega energy that track their targets for the entire durations. That track their targets. That actually sounds pretty OP. Like it's going to follow your targets. Actually, some orbitals now that actually have like special effects to them or a special ability, that actually sounds pretty cool. So you have that. You have the ally favor, 50,000 ally favor for the account. That would be pretty sweet. And then you get the 100 flawless nth medal. You have the Mogo Acorn supply box. You get 40 of those, so 40 in the one box. And then you have a skill point token again that you get once per character. And how much does this cost to buy it out? It looks like it is 5,000 marketplace cash. I kind of figured it would be around this amount for this. These look like a lot of good rewards, but I don't think you really need to buy it out unless you really want to get the orbital early. Of course, for this video, so I can test it on US as well, I am going to buy it out so that I can test stuff out, but I don't think you necessarily need to buy it out. I would say if you have the time, I know this is a holiday season, and I know for a lot of people this time can be kind of hectic for you, but if you can go ahead and actually, do the 20 days or at least do half or 3/4 before you buy out, go ahead and do that. That's fine. But for, kind of the purpose of this video, I'm going to buy it out. Well, that doesn't seem right. It says for some reason I already own it. Let me go to here. I know I have the cash on there. There we go. Alright. I was about to say, I was like, I know I had it on there, so I just had to go into the marketplace. Um, so you got the Orbital here. We'll test that in a second. Yeah, why not? Because this is on EU, so I know that I'm losing these things. I'm losing the nth metal. I can add it on an artifact or something on here if I wanted to, but he's already got wolf packs. But yeah. That is the cost I'm willing to make. But yeah, let's go ahead and test out the orbital. Yes, alright. Let me see if I can get my parse log. Let me make sure I have it set right. Make sure that we have it set for after combat. Just in case. I mean, it said it's only 7.5 seconds, so it should well be within like the 10-second parser, but you know, just to be on the safe side, you never know. Hello, Chosen. How's it going? They said, hello, how are you doing today? I'm doing pretty well. I was stoked to get on here so I could go ahead and check out the rewards. And yeah, so here I am. Cross places are, is there any new sales on the marketplace? Let's take a look. That's a really good question. Let's take a look. On sale. So it looks like they have, so it's basically upgrades, it looks like. So 20% on upgrades. Yeah. So there you go. If you want upgrades, anything that's under the upgrades tab will be on sale. So that's the mods, that's the respec tokens, name change tokens, additional character slots, bank bots, like all the little bots, portable workstation. This is a good buy. I purchased this years ago. Very good buy if you find yourself using it a lot. And then you have the different radar enhancers, renown boosters, colas, stuff like that. So it's kind of like, you know, like character size change, power type change, weapon change, you know, the different mods, that sort of stuff. It looks like they're on 20% off for the sale right now. Yeah, 20% off upgrades. Yeah. So I wouldn't say it's a crazy sale. I think if you wait another week or two, I'm sure Christmas will have like at least, or I think at most it'll be 30% off. So I would say hold off for Christmas. I think it'll be worth it holding off for Christmas. I would say wait a week or two. Chosen says, how does inventory look at max? If you want, this is actually how it looks at max, because I have mine maxed out. So 1, 2, 3, 4 scrolls. 4 scrolls for me to go all the way down. I don't know how many slots there are here, but that's basically what your inventory looks like when it's at max with legendary. Legendary gives you slots, and then when you're at max, this is what it looks like. So maybe if you slow that down for the replay, you can count all the different rows if you want, because all you have to do is just take like the 7, and then multiply it by how many rows you see. So you could slow it down in the replay, and then that's how many you get with max. Chosen said, I'm thinking on getting the shaded comic material when I complete the patrol event. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. There's one character that I have, one of my main characters that I have that doesn't have it, that I'm going to go ahead and get it on. I feel like the shaded comic is much harder to get than the token, the Wolfpack token, so that's why I did. Yeah, most definitely get bank in regular inventory. Like this is here, if you want to see what the maxes look for those. So I know that if you max out bank, like this is shared bank. That's when it's what it looks like when it's maxed out. And then this is your regular bank. Honestly, I feel like you basically get the like your regular bank. I feel like you get the same amount as like your inventory. So it's like having 2 inventories. That's a maxed out bank right there. Because I bought all these upgrades like the last time they like increased them. Because as much space as possible, like I will get it. And then of course like the max broker slots. Um, Max broker slots. I think it's 100. I don't have any. Let me just add like an item here. See? All right. So one out of there you go, 100. One out of 100. So that's maxed out is 100 for your slots. For the broker. Yeah. So it's well worth it to kind of max those out if you can. But I mean, if you really want to save some money, I would wait till it's 30% for Christmas. But if you can't wait, I mean, this is better than buying it at full price, right? So if you absolutely have to have it now, then that wouldn't be too bad. All right, so let me go ahead and do this on a single target and see what this does. So obviously, since it goes by CR, it's probably not going to do that much damage. Yeah, 15 hits and it did 10,000 damage. 15 hits and it did 10,000 damage, and its duration is not 7.5 seconds. It's 7.1 seconds. So it's not 7.5. It's basically just 7 for the most part. So I don't know. Only 10,000 damage? I'm not really crazy about that. Let me go to like an open world boss or something and see like the difference there. See if I hit harder. I know I'm a hero, so I gotta look for villain. I'll go to like Archilo. That's the only one I know of that's like a villain. Because you gotta understand, I'm usually a villain. So for me, I know we're all like the hero, like all the villain bounties for like Kilowog and all that. I don't really know the ones for the heroes to find the villain like enemies, or I could see if I could find like the enchanted statue or something. Because I know where he is, kinda. So. But yeah, I mean, on that sparring target, it's like, I don't know. I'm only doing 10,000 on a 101 character. I'm not crazy about that. I feel like it should be hitting harder, especially since like I know the sparring target is, like only level 1. So to me, I feel like as a 101, I should be doing a lot more damage than that. There may be some tweaking that they have to do with the system. Or maybe I can go over here, the judge. Fight the judge. Like, I feel like Orbital, I feel like that's like a major nerf. I feel like Orbital should be hitting a lot harder than that. I don't see the judge out here. Ah, there he is. Alright. I've got like a third left on my Orbital. So it seems to be going pretty quick. It looks like it's like 4 minutes and 10 seconds. Something like that. It's cooldown. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it looks like it's like 4 minutes, something like that. Little more than 4 minutes cooldown. But yeah. So we're gonna check that out. And then I'm gonna jump on the US side and see what the Orbital's hitting for. Obviously, I assume it's going to hit for a lot more, just because of the scaling is still going to be the old way where it's based on health, not on CR. But still, it's like, I want to see like what could have been, obviously. But I know it's probably going to hit for a lot less on US server once the update goes up, kind of like how it is here. Because I want to see if, like, since he's, like, an actual, like, he's not a sparring target, maybe he'll take more damage. So I'm going to lock onto him, and Orbital's almost off cooldown. So let me try this out. It's supposed to track him now, so when he walks around... Oh, it looks like multiples are going ahead and hitting. Like, it looks like multiple go down. Yeah, like, look at... I don't know. Let me see. So that was 11,000. So that was 1,000 more. Like, look at that. Like my taser pull is doing more damage. Yeah, like my like when my taser pull does more than an orbital. I don't know. I don't really like that. My taser pull was doing more than the orbital. That's kind of sad, to be honest. So it is okay. So it is available on the US side if you buy it on the EU side. Right now, it's not live on the US side, but if you buy it over on the EU side, like I did, then it will become available to you on the US side. But if you only play US and you do not have access to the EU server, this is primarily something that's very easy for PC players because it is built into our launcher. But PSN doesn't really have it that way, so you have to go through a lot more hoops to be able to do that. And I heard it's like really difficult or a lot to kind of wrap your mind around. I don't exactly know how people do it, but it is much more difficult for PSN. It's something that's built into the launcher for PC, so it's a lot easier. We just have to make our own characters. No, you know what? You made a really good point. It is not upgraded in my base because I didn't have. You are totally correct. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, I don't have the. I don't have it fully upgraded because I just don't have the source marks on this character. I think I'm gonna break a cardinal sin just for the point of just for the point of demonstrating this video. So I'm gonna take one for the team, and I'm gonna buy some source marks. Do not do this under any other circumstances. This is for testing only. Because I don't think I'm gonna get source marks quick enough, and I don't want you guys sitting here trying to have me wait to get some source marks. Yeah, I've only got like 11 source marks so on this character. So I'm gonna bite the bullet. I hate to do this, but I'm gonna bite the bullet so that I don't have to. So that you guys don't have to wait on me going ahead and doing that. Let me fully test it. That was a great reminder. Thank you. Let me go ahead and quickly do that. Because I did try to upgrade it, but I only had like 60 or 51 marks on this character. Because I don't play this character a lot. This character is mainly for, you know, to check out things on the EU server. So, oh, I didn't open up the. I gotta. I don't know if I got the box or not. Did I get it? I'm pretty sure I got it. Source marks. Source marks. So the patrol will be starting tomorrow for the US side. It is already live on the EU side. I'm trying to find the source marks that I went ahead and got. I'm pretty sure I'm looking right over them. Okay, I guess not. Well, I'm gonna bite the bullet again. Oh, I bought replay badges. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Screw it. I was wondering why it was so cheap. Bought myself replay badges instead. Alright. Alright, now we can properly test. Yeah, I know. I got replay badges. I feel so foolish. Yeah, I didn't have it ranked all the way up cuz yeah. Here. Now let's go test it now cuz it's fully leveled up. But then again, I thought that these weren't tied to the you know, like the different like to the to the whatchamacallit, to the batteries and the whole like thing in your base. I thought it wasn't tied to that, but let's take a look. Let's take a look. Let's see if this is more. I don't know. It doesn't seem to be doing. It doesn't seem to be doing more. But I'll go back out to open world again. 10,000. 10,000 damage. So I'm not. It doesn't seem to be any different. I was pretty sure. I thought that Let me see. Do I have the other orbital? No, I don't have the other orbital because I have that on US. I don't have it shared across. Somebody said, "Are you in the Creators League?" I went ahead. I was. How do I say it? It's kind of like I was up in the air about it. Didn't really know if I wanted to apply or not. I put a post out with a poll to my community, and I told them, I was like, "Do you think I should try for it or not?" And it was like 3/4 of the people said, "Yeah, go ahead and apply for it." So I applied for it. I don't know if I'm being accepted or not. We'll just see. Kind of in the back of my mind, I think like if I do make it in there, I think it'll just give me access to styles and things earlier for the community to see. I don't know how much good I could do in it, to be honest, but you know, I all I could do is add my feedback to the list, and you know, hopefully they take it into account. I don't want to promise anything because, to be honest, I don't really expect much from it. But you know, it's a new journey. We'll see if anything comes of it. But I'm staying very cautiously optimistic. But it looks like that orbital wasn't affected by that at all. Like even with it fully upgraded, it seemed like the orbital was hitting like super low. We're gonna go over to the judge again, and then if it hits for around the same, which is like 11,000, I'm gonna go back on the US server and well, I don't know. I'll just go on the US server and just test the numbers of what it would have looked like. But I know the US server probably hasn't had the changes changed over yet, so it's going to give me false numbers. I know it, so I'm not gonna be super surprised. But with it fully ranked up, with me being only 101 on a sparring target, only 10,000 damage. That's like really low. Like my taser pulls do way more than that. When you have an ability in your loadout that does more than an orbital, I don't know. That sounds like the orbitals aren't really worth it. Like like at that point, like I don't know, if you don't see any higher numbers than that. Like I know he's only 101, but if you're not seeing higher numbers than that, then maybe people are gonna start using like DPS trinkets instead and not running orbitals. Because it may not be worth it, or maybe somebody didn't test it and they're not hitting for the correct amount. But either way, that's like really disappointing. So I'm gonna go over here to Archillo since we're kind of in the area, and my orbital is just about off cooldown, almost. And we're gonna see what it hits for. He should be over here. Where is he? There he is. Look, it tracks him. That's nice though. I like that. Look, yeah, that looks nice. Look at that. Yeah, it was only 11,000 like the other one. Didn't change. So this isn't tied. This isn't tied to your your mainframe or any of those things. Just like the last orbital. Yeah. So I don't know why they would do that. It's not great. Yeah, they added tracking on orbital. They added tracking to the orbital, but now the orbitals suck. Or at least on a 101 on like a bounty, it doesn't hit for much at all. Okay, So, like I promised, I'm going to jump to the U.S. side. I'll be back. And yes, the Orbital is redeemable on all characters. So that's why I'm going to jump to the US side and try it out. So yeah, you can get it on all your characters. I already had my launcher lock and loaded for the US side, so I could just press it and shoot right over here. All right, let's go my main. Alrighty, so here we are on the US server. We got events. So it shows it as upcoming right now, but I bet. So it doesn't show this here right now. It shows it shows it's complete, but it doesn't show this right now. But if I go into reward reclaim and I go into patrol, there it is. You get the skill point and the orbital on every character. And then I just do claim all. And then use my skill point token. Skill point has been added. And I think that puts me at 963. And then I got my orbital here. Oh, and it says it's a finisher. You guys see that? It says it's a finisher. So finisher health threshold 35%. So I'm guessing it also does more damage when an enemy's at a lower health threshold. I gotta try that. Okay, so I'm gonna do the DPS. Oh, well, okay. I guess I'm gonna do it on my battle tank. Because it says my armories don't work since I claimed that skill point. Wait a minute. Oh, it's doing that bug again. Build does not have the required minimum of 953 skill points spent. But yet, I've only got 6 skill points that I have unspent. Alright, I'll do this build. And then I'll take Athena Blade off. Throw this one on. And then I could test the different orbitals and see if, because even though the numbers are going to be wrong, you can obviously tell, like, between the orbitals and see between this one and the Athena Blade and see which one hits harder, obviously, and then you'll kind of think to yourself, like, okay, maybe that'll be the same way when it goes live. Yeah, I had the Athena. I was using that on everything because the thing about that I liked about the Athena was that that it was wide, so you wouldn't miss the target. But now this one tracks, so it doesn't even really matter at this point. Okay. So it's 9. Okay. So I'm gonna lock on, and I'm going to do my parse tab, and then we're gonna hit it. So 18,000, 182,000 per tick. Let's see what comes up. So 2.7 million. 2.7 million for 7.1 seconds for that one. So 2.7 million. I'll remember that. 2.73 million. And then we've got Athena Blade. And it seems to be going pretty quick. Let me see if Athena Blade's got the same So let me see if it tells me here. Athena Blade. It doesn't tell me the cooldown for the Athena Blade. I'm guessing that it's the same. But yeah, so the Orbital is redeemable on all characters. That skill point is also redeemable on all characters. Um, so yeah, you can get both of those. So obviously, the only thing you can get once are going to be, of course, the marks, the nth metal. You only get that once. All right. So Orbital is about halfway. So let me write this down before I forget. 2.73 million. Whoops. Not trying to. And that was for 7.1 seconds. And I think the Athena Blade has a lot shorter of a cooldown. I mean, of a duration. I think it's only up for like 3.5 seconds or something like that. I could be wrong, but the parse will tell us. Got like a quarter left on there. But that's basically Patrol 4. And then I'm going to go... I mean, if you guys want to see, I'm just going to jump on my Earth character and have him redeem the shaded comic material. And, you know, give him his stuff and whatnot. And then I think that'll finish it up for the most part, because everybody kind of knows like the nth metal and the marks and you know pretty much how that works. And then you get the 50k ally favor. You get that only once per account as well, so you can only claim the marks, the nth metal, and the ally favor only once per account. Okay, we're almost there. This orbital feels like it takes forever to come off a cooldown. I kind of feel like the new orbital has a little bit of a shorter cooldown. This one seemed to take like forever. All right, so 2.73 million for 7 seconds basically. Now let's see what this one does. Let's see how this compares. Okay, that seemed to do a lot more. Holy cow, that did a lot more. That did 12 million in 2 seconds. 12 million damage in 2 seconds. And it only did 5 hits. Can I test the finisher damage? Yeah, for sure. Yep. Well, let's see. Here, let me throw this back on. Okay. I think this is the perfect way to test it. Look, like the orbital is almost already. It looks like the new orbital is like almost already like halfway like done. It's like almost at the halfway mark. And it did 2, and so I guess kind of they're thinking that the orbitals will be less powerful, but you can spam them more. I guess that's kind of what they're trying to what they're trying to base it off of. I couldn't even really hear the audio on the new orbital either. Like the like I saw in the one video. But it looks like they kind of want you to spam like the new orbital. It'll have a less of a cooldown, but definitely has more spammability to it. It hits for less, but you can spam it more. Where the Athena Blade hits like a truck. It's almost 13 million for 2 seconds with 5 total hits, where the new one is 2.7, almost 3 million, and it does 15 hits, but it takes like three times as long to get that damage off. So it's like a quarter of the damage that takes 3 times as long to do, but you can spam it more, and it has 15 hits, and it tracks. I don't know. Or stick with your antimatter orbital. I don't know. I think that may do even less damage, but I'll try to throw on another orbital. I'll use my favorite, the Source Lightning. I'll throw that on and test. But they're almost off cooldown, so I'm gonna do the new orbital again. But I'm gonna make sure he's at like 35% before I do anything crazy. Let me make sure the Superboy's out of the way before. You know what? Let me warp to the House of Legends again. He's gonna take forever. He is going to take forever. Maybe I could lose him by warping. Alright. Because he's going to skew the numbers, and he's going to take so long that I don't want to wait that long for him. Alright, let's get this guy worked down. Try to nudge him down just enough. Alright, so he's below it. He's at a good point. Let me take all my... Let me take this guy off, take this off. I don't need any... Okay, so that disappeared. Good, good, good. Let's do this now. Alright. Alright, let's see what it does now in terms of damage. It looks like it was around the same. It didn't look like the finisher kind of did any... No, it did the same damage. 2.73 million. Yeah. So the finisher part isn't even really working on it. It's doing the same damage, or you know, like it's not doing anything extra. Yeah, it says it procs at 35%. That's lower than 35%, and it wasn't doing more damage at all. So yeah. That's actually pretty pitiful. Yeah, it's not doing any more damage. It looks that, well, it looks like they may have this orbital like pre-programmed. So obviously all the other orbitals will probably come into line with this one coming tomorrow. Because this is the US server, so I just grabbed this from the EU server, so the orbital's probably pre-programmed, but all the orbitals that are on here on the US haven't been hit with that update yet. So, you know, maybe just this new orbital's the one that's, you know, weaker because it's the only one that actually has the correct changes. So the numbers will be skewed, but it's like it really shows the chasm between what orbitals are doing right now and what they will be doing in the future. So they will be doing a lot less damage, because you got the Athena orbital that did 12, almost 13 million in damage within 2 seconds. This new orbital only does 2.7 million in 7 seconds. So it's, I mean, it tracks your enemies. I could try it later on multiple ads and see if it'll do a lot more damage, because it looks like it like brings down a second beam, so maybe like more targets it'll be better for like ads than it will like be for bosses. But right now it just looks like the damage is like really abysmal to what we're used to. And to be honest, when it comes to like survival mode and all that, Orbitals used to be the great equalizer because it did a percentage on the boss's health, so it didn't matter like what boss you were fighting. Orbitals were always going to be good, because if the boss had a ton of health, well, Orbitals would kind of help you chunk down that impossible amount of health that you had for some of these bosses. But now, since it's going to be like CR based, the lower your CR to the actual boss, it's like the less you're going to do. So that's like the worst case scenario in a survival mode, because now you're even more behind on damage, because now there's no equalizer, you know, to their like giant health pool. So now you have to work harder to chunk their health down, because your orbitals are going to be as effective as your actual like loadout. So that's not going to be great either. Yeah, so you're really getting nerfed really bad. Okay, so let me go ahead and do the Source Lightning Orbital. So it looks like it did the same sort of damage like the first 3 to 4 times over, and then it dropped drastically. Yeah, so that was 2 seconds, and that was 6.7 mil, so over almost 7 million damage in 2 seconds. That is almost 3 times that. Well, okay, that's almost double, because I can't quite say 3 because it wasn't 9 mil, because the other one was almost, so the new orbital was almost 3 mil. This is a little over 2 times the damage, in about a third of the time taken to actually do that. So the Source Lightning Orbital is like 2.5 times less than the Athena Orbital, but it's a little more than 2 times the strength of the new orbital, the Subjugator Orbital. So yeah, so I'm guessing these orbitals will drop massively in damage when the update happens. So the Subjugator will probably look a lot better in terms of how the other orbitals will look after the update. So I think the new orbital has already, the update kind of applied to it, but since I'm on US, the rest of the update will hit all the orbitals once, like, you know, like the server goes down and then comes back up. They'll slip in the new update. But right now it just looks like orbitals are going to do a lot less damage. They're going to do only, you know, the top orbital, which will probably be the Subjugator Orbital, will only do about 3 million damage, 2.7 million in 7 seconds. So that seems to be what orbitals will end up doing. They're going to do a lot less damage. Let me see here. Yeah, I was going to try it on multiple ads. We'll do that. I want to get the best sample size possible, so I don't want to do the 5, I want to do the 8. So I'm going to jump to our League Hall, if I can get out of the combat. Here we go. I'm going to jump to our League Hall for Godslayers, and I'm going to test it on 8 targets and see how 8 targets differs from 1 target. See if we can really increase that that yield of damage. I'm guessing it's going to do a lot better on multiple targets, obviously, because I'm thinking maybe you know, like it's not going to split, like it's, you know, so I'm kind of hoping you're going to see a drastic change, but it's still going to make single target for like orbitals. It's like orbitals are going to be really bad for single target. I can probably already tell you. Orbitals used to be, you know, pretty good. You know, they were great for bosses because it was based on their health, so it was worth it. But I could see it being something where it's like, okay, it's not really that good. Yeah, so Um, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't look great, to be honest. Yeah, orbitals are not going to be what they used to be, it looks like. I mean, they may update the numbers. They may say, okay, maybe we dipped a little low. Maybe the, uh, maybe the formula we used was a little low for what people want for their characters or whatnot. A little low, but I don't know. We'll see. So here we go. New orbital on 8 ads. So it looks like it does a double spawn. So it does 15 hits, so maybe because it does multiple, like a ton of hits, maybe it'll make it worth it for ads. It looks like it's going to be more for ads than bosses, but let's see. Oh, this is hilarious. Okay. So here's the thing. So the Athena orbital on one target does almost 17 million. So it's 16 point something million, okay? On one on one target. This new orbital does 16.2 million on 8 targets. So to get the same damage that the Athena blade is doing right now, which I'm guessing will change, to get the same damage that the Athena orbital was doing on one target, you will now have to hit 8 targets with this new orbital to get that same amount of damage or get in the same neighborhood. So, yeah, that's pretty crazy to me. You have to hit 8 targets with this new orbital um, to go ahead and actually get the same damage that Athena Blade was getting on one target. Now, just for funsies, I'm going to throw on the Athena. And I know this number is going to be drastically higher because Athena, it's going to scale much higher. But I'm willing to bet the Athena is probably going to do, I don't know if I had to guess, I think the Athena is going to do like 80 million. If this new orbital is doing 16 million on 8 targets, I would guess that maybe it'll be 80, maybe over 100 million damage for the Athena, if the scaling's correct. What I think. Redevers says, by the way, welcome. They say the new Meta Knight video said testing on sparring targets isn't going to give accurate results. Could you test an open world ads to see if it's the same numbers? Okay. I'll test it on ads in the open world. I tested it on my 101 character on the bounties, and it was doing 11,000 damage for the for the orbital. So we tried it on EU. I'll try the new orbital on like a bounty or something and see if I get some different numbers. Claire says use of testing content. They said it does more damage in there due to CR. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I can go ahead. I'll like jump on my like I'll do like my battle tank build, and I'll go into something. I'll do like a duo or an alert or something, and I'll see what sort of damage it does. But I'll do like a bounty first or something, like a lower level bounty, and see if that holds true or not. But it didn't seem very promising on EU, which already had the update pushed over there. But I'm gonna try the Athena on here just for funsies. Let's see this. Yep. So I was right. The Athena blade. Oh wait, let me see here. No, wait. Actually, the Athena blade only did 8 million on those. That's actually crazy. It only did 8 million. Only did 8 million on those 8 targets. So yeah, like I said, it seems like if we're going off these numbers, right? If we're going off these numbers, I mean, I'm going to go into content now since we're pretty much done here. But if we go off of these numbers, it looks like the new orbitals are more like ad-based than like boss damage-based. But let's go into some content. I think that was a good. I think that was a good suggestion. Let's go ahead and do that. Um, so duos, I think we'll do. Corrupted Zamoron. Why not? I'll try the elite. Logging out and logging back in does reset the orbital. Yeah, it does reset the orbital.
You may call me Indigo 1.
I wouldn't recommend doing that during content though.
We have little time. Zamoron is in danger, as is all life. We must cleanse Zamoron and get to the power battery now. The Black has returned to the living universe and is corrupting the core.
Here, let me put the new orbital on.
The indigo light of compassion.
So I don't forget.
This corruption.
Because, I mean, these guys are pretty much at level with the DLC, so this will give us an accurate, if I could turn my effects down, accurate look at this. It's about a quarter of the way left. This first boss should show us whether it hits more or not. One more. Here we go. I mean, that should be it. I think we're just waiting on Indigo. There we go.
The corruption.
Chosen says, do you think I could use the artifact I mentioned about in my last comic? I don't have it ranked up that far. If you're not used to managing your health, that may not be the artifact for you. Yeah, you were asking about the Book of the Black. I know it's a really good artifact, but if you're not used to managing your health, or you don't use like a weapon buff, then I don't know. It may not be for you. Okay, so let me got my parser up. We're gonna drop our orbital. All right, let's see the damage on that. That's actually less. That's only barely 2 million. That's barely 2 million for this content right here. Like, that's nothing. Like, it seems like the sparring targets are actually pretty accurate to me. Yeah, that's only 2 million. It was actually less than what the sparring target was going ahead, and so the sparring target was actually far more generous with what it was. It was giving us 2.7 million, where this was barely 2 million. Yeah. So no, it looks like the orbital performs like pretty good on like ads, but when it comes to bosses, no, you're gonna nerf bad on bosses. Yeah, so I don't know if they're talking about it working better in content. That doesn't seem to be the case. Like, let's go to Metropolis. We'll do a bounty now. I'll do that. So I'm gonna switch over to there real quick. I'm gonna log out, log back in so I can reset it, and then we'll go from there. Yeah, so you know, whoever said that, whoever said that this was better, I don't know. Now that new orbital is not better at all. All right, scene. All right. So here we are back in Metropolis. I could go over to guy over here. I forget his name. The winged guy. Where is he? The Avatar of Sin. He should be over here somewhere. He's usually over here. Alright, I guess I'll have to find another bounty. But yeah, I could probably find like Dr. Fate over here. He's kind of over in this area. Yeah, so no, it doesn't look like they're performing any better. It actually looks like in content, it's actually performing worse. I think I don't know. I think maybe they need to take a look at that. I don't think it's performing as intended. If they said that generally you're going to do more damage. Did I pass it? I think I passed it. Let's see. Ah, he's over here on this one. Did you have to claim all the rewards in order to get the orb? No, I believe you could choose which ones you want. Or no, you do have to claim all of them to get the orb. Yeah, so I ended up losing all those rewards on EU because I bought all this on the EU side. And then I went ahead and now I'm claiming them on the US side. So you basically get 50,000 you get 50,000 ally favor. You get 100 of those, nth metal, the purple nth metal, and then you get. I'm trying to think what else. 50,000 ally favor, nth metal, and then you get a pack of 40 of those marks, I believe. 40 of those Mogo acorns. You can only claim those once, and then you get a skill point token for every character. And then you get the orbital that's redeemable on every character. And I'm trying to think what else, but yeah, so those are the only two you can. So you get 5 rewards, and then those are the only two you can keep redeeming for every character. It's the skill point, and then the orbital. But you have to claim all the rewards all at once. No, you don't have to pick those. I didn't choose anything from the event yet in terms of like this. I haven't picked any of this yet. So you have to choose one of these rewards. You can only choose one. Yeah, I just haven't chosen one. I'm going to choose the shaded for one of my characters. I have not actually chosen this yet. So you could do the claim all, but I think that's the only way you could do it is just do the claim. You pick one, and then you get those two. I'm guessing these are redeemable. Yeah, they're reclaimable on every character. But you can only choose like one. So I mean, you can choose. So the patrol doesn't show right here because obviously we're on US server, so it's not going to show. But if you bought it on EU and then you go into here, you'll see that you can get it now. Obviously, it's not going to show me the skill point thing because I already claimed it on this character, so it's only going to allow me to get the orbital again. But if you go on a character that doesn't have the skill point like already claimed, you'll see both of them together. So the 4th patrol is up, but once you finish this patrol, the campaign will allow you to choose any of these. I can choose any of these if I wanted to right now, but I'm not on the right character. So I have to go onto another character to claim the shaded comic. I don't want to, because I don't know if it'll allow me to like move it across characters. I don't want to take that chance. I haven't quite looked at it. So I'm just going to do it on the right character. So I haven't touched that yet. Budokai says it should be 200 to 1200% damage out attack buff. Now it scales off a CR. It should be feeling like you just hit the enemy with 3 artifacts at rank 200, especially in old content. Yeah, it's not. What if it's not you're feeling it must be bugged? So, okay, so I'm going to go ahead and drop the Orbital on Fate. And he's only level 46, so I should be doing quite a bit of crazy damage on him. See how much his health moves. Let's take a look. Okay. All right. So it basically one-shotted Fate. So it actually did its damage. Okay. So that looks like it's working correctly. So when you're at CR, the closer you are to it in relevant content, you're not really doing that much damage. But I guess if you go in older content, or you go into stuff, where it's like you're drastically higher than the actual characters, then you'll do more damage. But here's the problem. If you go into like omnibus content, you're going to get scaled down, and I'm guessing your orbital is going to get scaled down with you. So there's no real point there, right? Like he one-shotted him, but then again, Fate only has 15,000 health out here in the open world. So did the orbital do a lot of damage? Not really. I mean, it it did 150. It did 151,000, but still, that's peanuts in terms of like what we usually do with orbitals. So yes, it's scaled to one-shotting Fate for 151,000, but Fate doesn't have that much health here compared to what I'm able to dish out. I could have one-shot him with any of the powers on my loadout. So that doesn't mean that the orbital's powerful. It just means that, it hits the same as like my loadout. So still, I think the orbital is very weak because it's based off your CR, just like how a lot of your abilities seem like, they're kind of relative to, the stats that are, kind of like your CR is based on like the relevant stats that you have, kind of, So kind of the same kind of idea there. But I feel like when I was on my 101 character on EU, a lot of my abilities were hitting harder than what the orbital was dishing out. So I kind of feel like the orbital isn't that powerful. Yeah. So yeah, if you want the aesthetic of beating an enemy with an orbital that takes them for exactly their health, but they're like 400 CR under you, the orbital's still only doing like 150,000 damage, which is nothing. So like, look, let me do this. Okay, my heat vision just did the same thing. My heat vision just did the same thing as what that orbital did, but it was one ability on my loadout. Does that mean that my heat vision is super powerful? Yes, in comparison to Fate, but doesn't mean, an orbital should be more powerful than my heat vision. That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like there's a disconnect where they think that it should be, CR based. I feel like they need to increase the formula for how powerful the orbital should be in relation to your CR. I feel like they need to double or triple it in general. The point is the percentage scales higher as your combat rating gets closer to max. You'll see where they're going with this when they announce the relaunch. Yeah, I know what they're meaning. They're talking about that it scales with your CR, and I understand, the percentages and whatnot. I just feel like they need to take whatever formula they're taking to where it says, okay, it does this much based on your CR. They need to take that formula and increase it a little more. So where, okay, when you're at max CR, you should do this percentage to this amount. Well, okay, they need to double or triple that to make it feel like it's worthwhile. Because at this point, I don't know if orbitals are really worth it other than ads. You know what I mean? Like I can see this being like pretty good for ads. It does good damage on like multiple ads, but other than that, if you're talking like a single target boss fight, maybe it's just better to keep the just use the DPS trinket. That's how I see it. So it's nothing too crazy. In terms of boss damage, it seems like boss damage is going to suffer. and people are just going to have to use other things to make up that boss damage. And yet again, this is something that you're going to use for ads. Um, it seems to be great on ads, not great on bosses. Like something. This is something people would use for single target on bosses, and you do a lot of damage because it was health based. Now that that's gone, it seems like it's not great for bosses at all. And I don't know. But it looks like that all orbitals will be adjusted to this level or lower. So all orbitals are pretty much going to kind of be looking at this sort of damage or scaled under, because you got to understand this is considered an elite orbital. So this is probably going to be one of the top tier echelon when it comes to orbitals. So if it's hitting for that much, you're probably going to have other orbitals hitting for far less when the update hits the US server. So I'm not too crazy about this update. I could see it being great for ads, not for bosses, really. So, I don't know. There you go. He got or two-shotted, basically, at this point. But, yeah. So there you go. There you go, guys. That is the look at the new orbital. It seems like the closer in CR you get to enemies, and God forbid, if you're actually a lower CR than those enemies, I doubt you're going to be doing any more damage. I think the closer you are to the enemy, that's actually your best case scenario. So if you have a lower CR to that enemy, you're probably less effective that your orbital will be. So I don't know. Not super excited about this. Hopefully there's kind of like maybe like a readjustment in the works. They might do that. You never know. They may take a look at the numbers and maybe it wasn't intended or whatnot. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. But this doesn't seem to be too promising for orbitals. It seems like a major adjustment from it being something for single target to just mainly good for like multiple ads. So very different than what we're used to. So there you go, guys. I appreciate y'all for hanging out and taking a look at the new rewards with me. But it looks like orbitals are going from going from a single target thing to an AoE thing. And it looks like you want to get your characters, if you're worried about damage, you want to get them to max as much as you can, because that's where you'll maximize your damage for what it is. But it looks like a major readjustment in how you're going to use orbitals in the future. So we got Budokai here saying orbital strikes were never for bosses. Best used on ads, but apparently it's supposed to smack bosses harder in old content. Old content's not that good if you're being scaled down, like with Omnibus. So that doesn't really matter. The orbital's going to be scaled down with the content and you with it. So I don't think that's really going to help much. And second of all, I know a lot of people that use them for bosses, because bosses generally in a lot of content have a crap ton of health. And if you have a boss that has, I don't know, 30 to 40 million health, and you have an orbital that's doing a percentage of that health, that's going to be a lot of damage. And a lot of bosses even have a lot more than that. So, and ads generally have a lot less health than bosses. So, a lot of people used orbitals for bosses because that was a great way to get a lot of easy damage, just because it was based off of health. But now, since that's not really not going to be the case anymore, ads are going to be the main way that you can do a lot of damage with orbitals. Bosses will not be that avenue anymore. But I know a lot of people that use them for bosses, and rightfully so, because bosses just have a ton of health, or at least back in the day they did. Maybe they'll change that formula up to where bosses don't really have that much, but it's generally kind of known that bosses have a lot more health than ads. If we're just going by one enemy versus another enemy, bosses generally have a lot more health, because they kind of make up the whole fight, right? So yeah, so that's kind of seems to be the case here. I appreciate y'all for hanging out, and I will see you all in the next one. Laters.